first up, let's take stock of how Wall Street opened up, how that is shaping up in the futures. As far as the stock futures are concerned, we do see a bit of a wait-and-watch mode for the CPI numbers that are due today for the Wall Street. We have Dow Jones that has lost 65 odd points, very, very flat though. S&P 500 futures have slipped 0.2%, and Nasdaq also declined 0.3%. So a bit of a decline coming in there as far as the futures are concerned. But as far as yesterday's market close is concerned, it did close in the green, but very marginally in the green. Dow Jones is traded up 0.1%. S&P 500 also closed up just 10 points higher, and Nasdaq Composite traded up 62 points higher. So though in the green, there is wait and watch mode as far as US market is concerned. The CPI numbers that we are expecting today, we do expect that the CPI rose to 2.7%. This is according to Dow Jones consensus estimate, and this would be in line with the lower than expected November CPI results. And also as far as the December jobs data is concerned, we saw that cooling off a bit, but it was pretty much in line with what we were expecting, and also it reflected a stable jobs market, and also that means that the Federal Reserve will hold off on the interest rate cuts for now. So as of now, we are expecting the CPI numbers to come out at 2.7%. So that's what so the cues basically the Wall Street is watching out for. But nonetheless, the futures are a bit on the lower side as of now.
Oh, indeed. That's about the US markets. They were seen to be shrugging off all the fears and the commentary that we have seen coming in from Jerome Powell. Very interesting moves coming in on the commodity side because, yes, of course, is the safe haven buying that once again seem to be kicking in amidst all the geopolitical tensions, as well as what's been happening with the Fed chair. And we have seen over 2% of gain coming in on the gold prices. Silver jumped almost 8% overnight. But with respect to the crude as well, slowly and steadily, that is also seen to be inching higher. As of now, Brent oil is trading around that $64 per barrel mark. Oil rises to a 3-month high amidst the supply concerns as well. So that's about the crude check. But yes, of course, with respect to the gold prices, like we have been telling you, it's just yesterday we have seen the record high levels touching in for gold, because gold has climbed to a record of $4,600 per ounce as investors turn to the safe havens amid the rising tensions between Trump administration and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Now, Wall Street futures dropped and the dollar fell by most in the 3 weeks as tension between Fed and the Trump administration escalated. Now, an investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is adding fresh policy risk to markets, raising speculation about a possible leadership change at the Fed. Now, gold surge comes after an exceptionally strong year, and according to World Gold Council, gold rose 4% in December alone, helping it finish 2025 up 67% year-on-year, marking one of its strongest full-year performances in decades. Now, analysts say that new Fed chair, more open to faster cuts, could boost gold, which already benefits from lower rates and cooling US labor data. Geopolitical tensions in Iran and Venezuela are further driving the investors into the safe haven metal.
All right, and the news at the moment of Sergio Gore visiting India on the trade talks. He has taken a charge as US Ambassador to India, and in public address before assuming office, Sergio Gore thanked US President Donald Trump, saying his mission in India is to strengthen the ties between the oldest and the largest democracies. Gore said that the US President Donald Trump conveyed his best wishes to his friend PM Modi. India and the US are continuing to actively engage in trade deal negotiations. Sergio Gore said in an important statement that the next call to discuss the deal is scheduled for today. And before we go to the guests and discuss the topic at hand, here's what Sergio Gore had to say. Let's go across and listen in.
We are raising the standard for diplomacy itself. That means fair trade, mutual respect, and shared security. Many of you have asked me for an update on the ongoing trade deal negotiations. Both sides continue to actively engage. Remember, India is the world's largest nation, so it's not an easy task to get this across the finish line, but we are determined to get there. And while trade is very important for our relationship, we will continue to work closely together on other very important areas, such as security, counterterrorism, energy, technology, education, and health.
That India has almost no semiconductor capacity. We would be very happy to be anchored in somebody's supply chain. We must not exaggerate our capacities. We have only one fab that is still under production. We have chip design capacity, but all our chip designers work for other countries, and we have no semiconductor ecosystem. I have been to Taiwan, I've been to South Korea, I've been to Japan, I've talked to a number of semiconductor specialists there, and they said India has manpower, but at present it has absolutely nothing else. So for us, anchoring into we cannot obviously anchor into a Chinese semiconductor ecosystem. That is strategically impossible for us. So we'd be more than happy, I think, to be signing up with somebody else. We already have bilateral semiconductor agreements with Japan, with South Korea. We have rare earth critical minerals agreements with Japan and Australia. We have a similar agreement under the TTC, the Trade Technology Commission Council, with the EU, and we already have a semiconductor working group in the Quad. So for us to join Pax Silica is hardly anything unusual. It would actually be a logical step.
We will have to adjust, and we will adjust, not have to. America will also adjust, but we'll adjust to a point, and America will adjust to a point, and that's where hopefully equilibrium will come. But personal chemistry and equations do definitely help a lot, but that's the icing on the cake, is the core rocks of our national interests which come at play. Now, quickly back to, the Pax Silica thing. I think it's interesting that he made this announcement, Ambassador Gore. The initiative was announced in December. There were about 5 odd countries which were named, or 6 which were named as part of that initiative. India was not in that list. To some extent, I think in India, we expected that India should be in that list, or if we are not in that list, why are we not in that list? Is it another signal from America that it's downgrading or downplaying our role and our place in this world matrix?
It has been, quite concerning for India, the kind of rhetoric coming out of Washington. But India has also signaled that it's not seeking a confrontation with the US while it seeks to protect its interests in the negotiations and discussions. It is also not ramping up the rhetoric or actually, confronting the United States. We've chosen to ignore most of the rhetoric coming out of the US. So I think the fact that Ambassador Gore has hit the ground running and wants to grapple with the most difficult aspect of the relationship at present, which is the trade and economic relationship, where 50% tariffs have been imposed on India, is a good thing, because the ambassador can act as a bridge and as a conduit.
All right, and moving on to another story then, and India and Germany firmed up a comprehensive roadmap to expand ties in the education sector as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz held wide-ranging talks to expand the overall trajectory of bilateral engagement. Now, the two leaders also deliberated on the Russia-Ukraine conflict and the situation in Gaza and other pressing global challenges, with Modi asserting that India has always supported the peaceful resolution of all problems and disputes. Now, the German leader landed in Ahmedabad yesterday on a 2-day visit to India. It is his first trip to Asia as German Chancellor. And here's what Prime Minister Narendra Modi said during the joint press conference.
रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी के क्षेत्र में भारत और जर्मनी की प्राथमिकताएं समान है। इसमें सहयोग को बढ़ाने के लिए हमने इंडिया जर्मनी सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस स्थापित करने का निर्णय लिया है। ये नॉलेज, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन का साझा मंच बनेगा। हम क्लाइमेट, एनर्जी, अर्बन डेवलपमेंट और अर्बन मोबिलिटी जैसे क्षेत्रों में मिलकर नई परियोजनाओं को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं। ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन में दोनों देशों की कंपनियों का नया मेगा प्रोजेक्ट भविष्य की ऊर्जा के लिए एक गेम चेंजर साबित होगा। भारत और जर्मनी सिक्योर, ट्रस्टेड और रेजिलिएंट सप्लाई चेन के निर्माण के लिए मिलकर के काम कर रहे हैं। इन सभी विषयों पर आज किए जा रहे एमओयू से हमारे सहयोग को नई गति और मजबूती मिलेगी।
And US President Donald Trump says any country doing business with Iran will face a 25% US tariff on all trade effective immediately. The move aims to economically isolate Tehran amid ongoing anti-government protests and rising tensions. Details remain rather unclear, including the legal basis of the tariffs, as the decision comes ahead of a crucial US Supreme Court ruling on Trump's broader tariff powers. And US Press Secretary added that all the options remain on the table, including diplomacy and military strikes. Let's go across and listen in.
He's always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately, and I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran.
And Trump has threatened to sideline Exxon and Mobil from Venezuela's oil sector, saying the company is paying too crude. Now the comments follow Exxon CEO Darren Woods calling Venezuela uninvestable amid political and legal risk. Trump has been pushing U.S. oil firms to invest heavily in Venezuela, but Exxon's reluctance could now cost its access to future projects.
In the past, three chairs of Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen, Ben Bernanke and Alan Greenspan, have condemned what they call an unprecedented assault by Trump on Fed Chair Jerome Powell. They warned that criminal probes targeting central bankers resemble practices seen in emerging markets with weak institutions and risk undermining U.S. economic stability and the rule of law. However, U.S. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt remained rather defiant, saying many economists believe that Powell is not fit for the Fed chair seat. Let's listen in.
The president has every right to criticize the Fed chair. He has a First Amendment right, just like all of you do. And one thing for sure, the president's made it quite clear, is Jerome Powell is bad at his job. As for whether or not Jerome Powell is a criminal, that's an answer the Department of Justice is going to have to find out, and it looks like they intend to find that out. The president has made it quite clear he thinks Jerome Powell is bad at his job, and the president has made it quite clear, as have many economists, by the way, that interest rates should be lowered, and they should have been lowered a long time ago.
And Paramount Skydance has sued Warren Brothers Discovery and CEO David Zaslav after the board again urged the shareholders to reject Paramount's $30 a share hostile bid. Paramount has also flagged a proxy fight days after Warner agreed to sell HBO Max and its film studio to Netflix for $72 billion and reiterated plans to split into two listed entities.
And Alphabet briefly crossed a $4 trillion market valuation, becoming the fourth company ever to hit the milestone. A renewed confidence in the AI strategy lifted investor sentiment. Shares, in fact, jumped after Alphabet said Apple's next-generation AI models will run on Google's Gemini under a multi-year deal. The stock gained about 65% in 2025, outperforming the Magnificent Seven peers.
And in a major shake-up in tech circles, Meta CEO has announced that former Trump advisor Dina Powell McCormick has been appointed as the president of TechShine. Powell McCormick was most recently vice chair president and head of global client services at the merchant bank BDT and MSD Partners, and previously worked as the senior executive at Goldman Sachs. She was also deputy national security advisor to President Donald Trump during his first term, and this is the second recent hire in Meta with ties to Trump administration. Now, earlier, Curtis Joseph Mahanoy, who served as the deputy U.S. trade representative under Trump's first term, was named the company's new chief legal officer.